the disruptors that are coming, a lot of them are, climate change is a huge one. There's a lot of automation that's happening in jobs, not just low-level jobs, but even extremely complicated jobs like legal, finance, and the implications that that will have on urbanism and just people's employment status. In terms of the design, construction industry, there's a lot of technology happening on the software side as well as the building material side. There's a lot of possibilities with that we can take advantage of. Amy spoke a lot about hydroponics, locoponics, urban farming. When looking at the effects of climate change, where there's some areas of the world that are expected by 2050 to have major reductions in crop production, and that risk in the food security is going to necessitate the need for either countries like Canada that will have increases in crop production to pick up the slack, or being able to implement urban farming in these other locations where food scarcity will become a real concern, especially with increasing populations. So challenges are that through cognitive computing, so George spoke about this morning, if you go back to, I think, 2011, IBM produced Watson, which was the candidate on Jeopardy that beat all the Jeopardy champions. IBM's been working on that for a number of years now, and so it's a cognitive computing platform, which is machine learning, AI, the ability for a machine to think, ability for the computer to speak in natural language and understand natural language. So it's starting with jobs such as call center jobs. The computers are able to learn the questions to ask, and they learn the answers, and very quickly those computers are starting to understand and be able to be almost, it's indiscernible whether you're speaking to a human or a computer. And when you do that, then you eliminate the need for a human job. There are in the neighborhood of 250 million call center jobs around the world. So that is a major disruptor with the possibility of putting 250 million people out of work. There's the possibility that those people can be retrained and move to higher order jobs and as a whole help society, which would be great. But there is a real possibility of the risk of that many people going unemployed at once. How do you retrain them? Moving up the ladder in terms of more higher level jobs, cognitive computing, it will keep growing, especially if you can teach a computer how to learn, then the possibilities are essentially endless. So the ability for the computer to do jobs such as a lot of the jobs that we see in our industry that the consultants would do of the environmental side, the engineering side, perhaps some of the more technical side of architecture, the legal side, the possibilities are enormous. And if you can save that money, then as the business owners, they're definitely going to be compelled to do that. And then ideally, hopefully you can free up that brain power to be used elsewhere for other ideas. Well, it could be scary. That's why the first question I asked Amy was, do you take a utopian or dystopian perspective on this? And she answered it quite aptly, I think, which was, it all depends on our perspective and how we approach it. If you approach it as though, and she said we're right at the crux right now where it could go one way or the other. If we choose to see it as a utopian possibility, then we have a better chance of achieving that outcome. If we become defeatist and worrisome, then there is a higher chance that it would go to the dystopian side. Constant monitoring, and we need the proper leadership and the right people in the right position saying the right things. But I think there very much is a possibility that this could lead us to a better place society-wise. I don't work as an engineer. My degree is in computer engineering. Work with a number of engineers now, and I've always been fascinated with technology and just watching where things are going now. It's fascinating. We talked about the automated cars and just the self-sensing machines that can understand where each other are. The possibilities are really interesting, and there's a lot of really big questions that haven't been answered yet on the legal side and ownership side, ethics side, and then bringing that back to as a developer, what does this mean for us? Where are we ripe for disruption, especially with Uber, things like Foodora, with the delivery models. David Chang, the chef for Momofuku, he started a delivery-only restaurant in New York now, where they're looking at, they feel in the fullness of time they'll be able to produce 100,000 meals a day out of there, and they have a fully integrated from the kitchen all the way to the delivery aspect, where that could be a major disruptor to places like food courts. So as a developer on the retail side, and we have food courts, some I think could be ripe for disruption, some probably not. Depends on the context in that sense. But those are things that we're starting to think about and plan for, or at least be aware of, thinking that the possibility of a major disruption could come in the coming years.